Let's explore how to use Docker with Node.js. In this guide, we'll cover containerizing Node.js applications. We will be using Docker, the whale, and Node.js. Docker helps package applications, and Node.js is a JavaScript runtime. This guide will help you get started. So, what exactly is Docker? Docker is a containerization platform. It packages applications and all their dependencies into lightweight, portable containers. Think of it as creating a neat little package that contains everything your application needs to run, no matter where you put it. Docker provides consistency, ensuring the same environment across development, testing, and production. It also provides portability, enabling you to run your application anywhere, whether it's your local machine, the cloud, or your own servers. Why should you use Docker for your Node.js applications? Well, there are several advantages. First, it provides dependency management. You can isolate specific Node.js versions and npm packages, preventing conflicts with your host system. Second, it makes deployment easy. You can ship your applications with all their dependencies included, so you won't have to worry about missing components. This effectively turns the problem of "it works on my machine" into "it works everywhere." Let's take a look at a basic Node.js application structure. You'll typically have a project directory, in this case, my Node app. Inside, you'll find package.json, which lists your project's dependencies, packagelock.json, which ensures consistent dependency versions, app.js, which is your main application file, a node_modules folder where the installed packages reside, and a public folder for static assets. The code snippet shows a simple app.js file that creates an express server and listens on port 3000. It defines one route that displays "Hello World" when you go to the root address in your browser. Now let's create a Dockerfile. A Dockerfile is a text file with instructions to build a Docker image. Each instruction creates a layer in the image. The basic Dockerfile starts with specifying the base image using the from instruction. Then we set the working directory inside the container using workdir. After that, we copy the package.json files, then install the dependencies using the run instruction. Next, copy the application source files using the copy instruction. Finally, we expose the port that our application will listen on using the expose instruction. Here's a complete Dockerfile example. We start from a Node version 18 Alpine image. Then we set the working directory to /app. After that, we copy the package files and run npm CI, which is similar to npm install, but better suited for production environments. Then we copy all the files from our directory to the app directory and expose port 3000. Finally, we define the command to run the application, which is nodeapp.js. To build a Docker image, you'll use the docker build command. For example, docker build t-my-node-app. We'll build an image tagged as my-node-app. Also, docker build t-my-app v1.0. We'll build and tag the image my-app with version 1.0. The build process involves several steps. First, it downloads the base node.js image. Then it copies the package.json file and installs the dependencies. Finally, it copies the application code into the image. Once you have a Docker image, you can run a container using the docker run command. For example, docker run my-node-app will run the image. To map a port from your host machine to the container, use the p flag. For example, docker run p3000:3000 my-node-app maps port 3000 on your machine to port 3000 in the container. If you want to run the container in detached mode, which means it runs in the background, use the d flag. Other common flags include name to assign a name to the container. To create efficient and secure Docker containers, here are some best practices to follow. First, use multi-stage builds to reduce image sizes. Second, Run your application as a non-root user for enhanced security. Third, copy package.json first to leverage Docker's caching mechanism. This way, dependencies are only reinstalled when package.json changes. Also, it is useful to use a .dockerignore file to exclude unnecessary files and folders such as node modules, npm debug log, git folder, etc. from your Docker image. In summary, we covered the basics of Docker and saw that it is a containerization platform for consistent deployments. We also saw what a Dockerfile is and how it is used to give instructions to build container images. Then we discussed the steps to build and run containerized applications. Finally, we saw the best practices for security, optimization, and efficient workflows. Docker transforms Node.js development with consistent, portable, and scalable containerized applications. Happy containerizing! If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.